Greetings folks, everybody's friend Fromark here once again, and this time around I'm in special stage number 5. Looks like I gotta get 12 of them fancy blue spheres for each segment of this special stage. It shouldn't be too big of a problem since I have a bit of a rings buffer. Once again, scrolling through these fancy Star Fox-esque special stages. Star Fox is a game I plan on doing a Let's Play of at some point, as I like the little bit of it I have played. Not very well versed in the game, but I'm still willing to give it a shot over here. Especially for the 5 or 6 people who watch my Let's Plays. But anyways, this is special stage number 5, and I'm moving things along pretty smoothly for the most part. You just gotta look out for them spikes, you gotta look out for them saw blades, as you see I managed to get hit right there. Shouldn't be too big of a worry, though. I will say special stages 4, 5, and 6 are probably where it gets the most difficult. I gotta go back through here one more time, get 2 more of the blue sphere. Now, blue sphere over time is a special stage I've learned to appreciate more. This is also a special stage I've appreciated more now that I don't have to record it. But yeah, pretty simplistic stuff, really. It's kind of hard to believe there was a point in time where this was considered mind-blowing 3D graphics. Oh, how far we've come in the last, 25, 26 years. Cool. Things are looking pretty cool so far. I just gotta get 12 more of these blue sphere, and I'll make my way back to the main game after this. But yeah, here in Knuckles Chaotix, I think is a pretty cool game for the most part, even if it's pretty basic and underdeveloped. I feel like the tether mechanic's a pretty cool idea, even if sometimes it becomes an annoyance, but not too big of an annoyance that you can't play the game. Although for newcomers it may be a little bit of a difficulty. I know when I first played Knuckles Chaotix, I couldn't really figure out what I was doing. First time I ever played this game, I don't remember completing it. I don't think it was until I actually got it on 32X that I completed it. But I once again want to point out the crime that it is that this game hasn't been re-released in some capacity. I mean, you got 1, 2, and CD that 1, 2, 3 and CD that constantly get re-released, but nobody ever gives Knuckles Chaotix enough love, and it sucks that that's the case. But what doesn't suck is that things are cool, and it looks like I will jump my way into that 5th special ring. Looks like this one's purple. Yeah, I just got 1 more to go, folks. And just keep things rolling along here. Go ahead and hit up Botanic Base Level 2. I wanted to say Zone 2, and then I wanted to say Act 2, but it's a little bit different in this game. From what I understand, a lot of the people who worked on Sonic CD worked on this game. Although this game is credited to Sonic Team sometimes, it was not made by Sonic Team. Although some notable people worked on this game. From what I understand, Jun Sano worked on some of the soundtrack. I mean, his name's in the credits, which would explain some of the absolute jams here. I believe this would have been his 2nd Sonic game to have done anything music related. Yeah, because the first one would have been Sonic 3, which he would eventually go on to create a majority of the music in the adventure games and stuff afterwards. But yeah, here you got Botanic Base 2. I just need to get 1 more ring, and I do not know, though, if this is where I will show off the final special stage or not. I guess that just remains to be seen. And just mosey my way through here. course, there's no shortage of rings in Knuckles Chaotix. Any zone you go to, even if you get hit a bunch, still plenty. Oh, I did not mean to go in there. But there's still plenty of opportunities to get more than enough rings. Now, if I can just get the heck out of here. Yeah, there it is. And just keep things moving right along. As those areas are kind of an annoyance after a while, because they don't really serve any purpose, and all they do is drain your rings. Actually, scratch that. They do serve a purpose considering you can get points and rings there, but at the same time, they drain your rings. So I just try to avoid them if at all possible. Now, sometimes your partner will jump into them on accident. Looks like I will have more than enough rings, though, to get to that next special stage. Although I don't really remember recording much of this, so if I do get it, I get it. If not, oh well. But I'll go ahead and make my rounds there. If I don't get it, just jump cut to the next place. Because typically I don't leave failure in these Let's Plays. And it looks like this is going to be a win-win. As I threw Mighty into there. Yes, I forgot to mention Mighty the Armadillo at this point. As he's pretty much a reskinned Sonic, as he plays almost exactly like Sonic would. And I believe Sonic's character in the prototype, Sonic's assets were pretty much rewritten for Mighty. Now Mighty the Armadillo, sadly, is one of the more forgotten Sonic characters, as he only makes a couple of appearances. He's in Knuckles Chaotix, of course, and then there's the obscure Sega Sonic the Hedgehog arcade game, which I have never played, and I don't know anybody who's ever played. One of these days I would like to play it, but I do not know if it's properly emulatable at this point, as that would be the only way, since it's also one of those games that's never been re-released for some dumbfounding reason. But there are two characters from Sega Sonic Arcade that never really get heard from much again after that. There's Mighty the Armadillo, and then there's Ray the Flying Squirrel. Now both of these characters, however, do make cameo appearances in Sonic Mania, but only in Sonic Mania Plus, which is the bonus DLC for Sonic Mania, which Sonic Mania is awesome. If you haven't played it yet, play it. This game is also awesome, so if you haven't played it, play it. And speaking of awesome, cool! Anyways, this is the final special stage that I need to navigate. I just gotta get 14 more of the blue sphere, and I believe I got enough rings to do it. I would think so, because like I said, I wouldn't leave this in the recording if it was a complete and total disaster. I will say that this is definitely the most difficult of the special stages, not only because of all the rings, but just all the obstacles that you gotta deal with, and you gotta be very careful not to fall off, as you can fall off the platform and just end up back in the hub world just like that. Yeah, there's 8, 9. Just gotta get a couple more here. 10. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's... Oh, sometimes in these special stages it's easy to get stuck, and this is an instance where I thought it was completely crap out of luck. But thankfully that was not the case, as I was able to bounce back enough to hit that spring there. But yeah, sometimes in these special stages you can get stuck and you just end up either running out of rings or you just gotta jump to your death. Although sometimes you can get lucky and end up the wall will bounce you back enough that you don't have to worry about it. Speaking of not having to worry about it, I don't have to worry about it anymore. There's freaking special rings, folks, as that was the 6th and final one. And all is cool. Go ahead and get that blue ring there. And yes, folks, this will do it for all the special stages in Knuckles Chaotix. And now I will be able to get the good ending. You did it. Perfect. Perfect. I got all of them, folks. And that is A-okay with me. We're going to keep things rolling along, shall we? Back to Botanic Base it is. Some alliterations going on here. Botanic Base back to Bo. Never actually watched that anime. I just remember as a kid, faintly remember it being on Adult Swim. But I don't really remember anything else about it. Maybe I should go back and watch that sometime. But anyways, back to Botanic Base. This time around I've got Vector with me. Oh, and there's also this power-up where you can switch characters out to where the partner character becomes the lead character. Now, I just kind of hang around here for a minute because this doesn't do me much good. Although apparently Vector can climb walls, which I didn't realize until I recorded this part. Now this fancy door here will take you to a hidden section of Botanic Base, which allows you a bunch of rings and all that good stuff. There's some rings. And there's a character switch power-up, I believe. And I skip past some more rings. Which at this point I don't need rings. Although I will point out that if you have 50 rings and you got all the Chaos rings, the special stage rings will show up at the end of each act regardless. Which, no big deal. If you happen to go into one of those, which I do show off later, I'll get to that when I get to that. And I believe I only show those off maybe once. I end up jumping into it on accident a couple of times. Spoilers. But yeah, just hit that switch and keep things rolling. But yeah, I mean, it sucks that this game is so undercooked. There's a lot of great things going on here, but I think personally it just needs a little bit more time in the development cycle. And in all reality, maybe this should have been a Sega Saturn game. It was originally developed with the Sega Saturn in mind until Sega was like, oh, we need a 32X game that'll sell. And this game definitely wasn't it, as the 32X didn't really sell worth a crap, but hey, it is what it is. Speaking of 32X though, keep things rolling along in 32X action and Chaotix. The game was, as far as I know, the game was originally just supposed to be Chaotix until they slapped Knuckles on it. Although it was originally a Sonic game and then they decided to make it a Knuckles game, and I don't know, there's just so much mystery behind the development of this game. There just doesn't seem to be a whole lot known. Which kind of surprises me in 2022 because this game came out like over 2 decades ago. But anyways, yeah, I'm not going to jump into the ring this time, but that's going to do it for Botanic Base level or Act 3. So no secret bonus. And if you don't jump into the special stages, this part here shows up, which I like this little theme here. Anyway, keep things moving along. Oh, looks like I got some speed slider to navigate through. Which anytime I hear the word slider, I think of those sandwiches from White Castle, which I don't think I've ever actually had one. In fact, I don't think I've never been to White Castle. Despite the fact that Harold and Kumar may have made it popular, I've never been to White Castle. Mainly because there's not a White Castle within like 60 miles of me because I live out in the middle of freaking nowhere, but maybe one of these days I'll go to one just to say I went to one. It's my understanding though, I'm not missing a whole lot, but I could be wrong. Yeah, climb this elevator here. Which sometimes this elevator can actually make the game lag. This is kind of funny really. But sometimes if you're playing on the 32X console, it just slows it down a little bit. The music goes a little bit slower. But yeah, just got Espio with me. Throw him. Which that hold button that I mentioned in the last part, you can use that if you're close enough to the character to grab them and throw them into the air. Which is a pretty neat little concept in my opinion. But yeah, I really wish there was a little bit more to talk about with this game. There's just, once you've gotten to what you've gotten to, there's just not a whole lot else to talk about. I mean, it's a Sonic game at heart, and you just go through each level, each act, each zone, do your thing. As the gorillas said, do your damn thing, do your thing a thing. Which is a very underrated Gorillaz song. I'll switch my character over to Vector. See if there's any computer rooms to find. Which I do not believe so. Had to go back and get myself a little bit of a running start. And that running start will be very useful. Bounce through these weird balloon things. Looks like I'm gonna need to figure out something here because I got another running start I need to make. I definitely can't go there. No. And yeah, big Espio coming at you. Now these giant power-ups, even though they don't do much, still pretty cool. I like these. And yeah, just zoom through the rest of Speed Slider. It looks like I'm getting to the tail end of this part, so I can't be too far from the end of this act. Yeah, I accidentally went into the special ring. But I'll get to the rest of these shenanigans in the next part, folks. I hope to see you then.